fashion, fun, felines. Join spa living and style expert Candy Holiday as she trips through her days while trying to flourish, look fab, and have a blast, even when life gets in her way. Let's make every day feel like a holiday with Candy. Candy, what are you doing?
I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner, Darren. But first, welcome y'all to Life's a Holiday. This is the show where we spin spa living ideas into fun ways for you to be healthier and more stylish. I mean, oh my gosh, y'all, can you believe that Thanksgiving is in like just 10 days? It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's like, where is time going? But anyway, I don't know about y'all, but I am always looking for unique, kind of exotic spins on traditional holiday fare. And this recipe that we cooked up at the Golden Door Spa, we actually got to go back in the private kitchen of the spa. It takes one dish. It's super spicy and exotic and fresh and healthy, but it just tastes decadent, and it will just amaze your guests. And even better, you can cook it all in just one pot, so you won't have to be running back and forth at Thanksgiving into the kitchen so much. But before I get into the audio, I want to just kind of warn you, because this is something that I recorded back when I really first started podcasting, and it's sort of one of my lost files, I like to call it. And it's such a great recipe, but the quality of the recording is just not the same as what I use now. I mean, I think I had this like little tiny mic. And I remember Chef Curtis and I were like passing it between each other. And I was just like praying, like, oh my gosh, please be picking up the sound. And it was really scary, exciting and fun, but scary as too. And, you know, as I was listening to the audio to edit it, there are parts where I have this like nervous laugh and I can hear it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, the chef probably thought I was just a nutball. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up because the audio quality is definitely not as good as is now when I have my, you know, big fancy microphone and all that jazz. But it's just such a great recipe and so perfect for Thanksgiving coming up. I had to share it with y'all. And if you go over to the website and you want to cook along, you can go to lifesaholiday.com. And in the show notes, I have a list of all the ingredients. So just get that all prepped and then you can just cook right along with us.
Have you ever dreamed of going somewhere ever since you were a little kid? This week, I got to visit one of my dream vacation spots, the prestigious Golden Door Spa in Escondido, California. They have an amazing one-week rejuvenation program where the Hollywood elite go to just restore, rejuvenate, and get in shape. And they were very kind to let me come and visit them at their original location in Escondido, California, which is near San Diego. Now, the Golden Door has locations nationwide, but this one is the original, and their food is amazing. I got to have lunch there alongside the lake, and it was just delicious. You would never think in a million years that it was healthy. They even have a cookbook out. It's called The Golden Door Cooks, and we were just so privileged that they let me into their private kitchens. I got to cook with their head chef, who is named Curtis Cook. So if you want to get everything out and get it ready, we're going to be making pan-seared escolar with red curry and Thai vegetable chowder. So that sounds delicious. It's just a perfect autumn dish. It's nice and hearty and full of all the great veggies that are in season right now. So let's get all your ingredients out and let's get started. So Chef Curtis, what are we cooking today for brunch?
Today we're going to have roasted escolar with a Thai vegetable red curry sauce.
All righty. And what was the first word there?
Roasted escolar.
Escolar. What is escolar?
I get it out of Hawaii. It's a deep water fish found in all the little tropical waters all over the world. It's a really good fatty fish.
All right. And good fatty?
Good fatty, but also called white tuna.
So as y'all have your ingredients all ready, we're going to start cooking, and we're going to be cooking this in the order that you need to cook it so that you can serve it all together and be the happy hostess and enjoy your brunch as well.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with cutting our zucchini.
All right. And now Chef has promised to show me how to cut this without cutting my fingers off.
Okay, so the first important thing is underneath your cutting board, you always want a damp towel or some sort of towel to keep your cutting board stable. A stable cutting board means if your hands aren't moving, your knife's not moving.
Okay.
So they will never meet each other.
All right.
Secondly, a sharper knife hurts less than a dull knife. That's a joke. Come on. It cuts cleaner. It takes less force to go through the veg. You always want a really sharp knife. The third key point is this. There is a handle, but you never hold it by the handle. You kind of center yourself over where the handle and the blade, where you have complete control over the knife.
So, like right where the handle meets the blade,
Correct.
You put your forefinger like that?
I kind of leave mine just like that.
Oh, you put your forefinger in the back.
Yeah, see if you can do that.
Looking pretty scary there. I don't know.
Perfect.
Okay,
Does
like
that
that?
feel awkward?
It feels very awkward.
It takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, it's a heavy knife too, by the way.
It's a gorgeous knife.
heavy.
So stand center of your cutting board.
All right.
You keep this one held down.
Okay.
And now you want to curl your fingers. Keep them curled. And
like
now,
that?
yes, and now everything is a rocking motion. You want to take this knife straight up and down, and you want to just slide right through it.
Okay, wait a minute. So start sort of like at the tip.
And then slide.
And then
slide
sort
forward.
of like rocking the
So
boat.
you're pushing. That's like the most common mistake is pushing. Now,
oh, God. Okay.
just like that. But you
It
see
cuts
how
like butter.
very little. Now let's just push.
Okay.
See how just a little bit more resistance, but just slide right through.
So let's see. This is going to be so exciting if I can do this.
And again, you go slow. It takes time to learn this.
Oh, they're so thick. Okay. How am I pushing? Like, should I be more?
It's just one big motion. If you think of it this way, you're starting here and you're ending upstairs. So you want to just go forward and down. It's
forward
this whole
and down.
rocking motion. And eventually you'll get to the point where where the tip of your knife stays, and you're just doing this. You're just rocking back and forth.
Oh my gosh, that's how they do it on TV. Okay, let's see. So it's easier on a smaller piece.
A smaller piece, correct.
But on the big
and
one.
that's all about vegetable. You need to learn.
Like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing it right.
Just as long as it makes your job a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. I don't need a sous chef at home anymore. I can do it all myself.
You are your sous chef now.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, though.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah. Timber.
And then there you go. Yeah, see, when you're losing one, this is a great learning lesson. When something's falling off your cutting board, rolling off your cutting board, never try to catch it. Because what's going to happen is you have a knife in your hand.
Yeah.
And if you try to move and catch something, you're not letting go of your knife. So you have to be very, very careful with that. Just let it hit the ground. We'll get another one and cut it.
All right. Yeah, zucchini's easier to replace than fingers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Much more cost effective.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. There we go. And so I actually cut a whole zucchini. Look at that. Woohoo. All right. And then now we're going to do it in little pieces?
Yeah, let's go down to dice.
Okay. So now we're going to dice.
We'll restack a
Slice
few
and
of
dice.
them. Yep. And then this one is all about, again, here, I'll demo on this one. It's all about those fingers curled. And I always keep kind of my thumb back, and I use those first two to guide me. And when I feel the blade touching my knuckles and know that the tips of my finger are underneath it, I know where I'm at.
Okay.
Now you want to keep the blade straight up and down, nice and vertical, perpendicular to the cutting board. And you just should never lift it that high. You should just little bitty rock. The tip of the knife is always on the board. Right. And you're using the front portion, that curved portion of the knife, never back here, just right up there.
Okay. And about how many slices do you do at once? Or as many as you can?
Well, I try not to stack it too high. If you're lifting that knife over your knuckles, then it's too high. So if you're not comfortable with 3, just go to 2. But yeah, you want it to lower it's easier.
So you sort of like make like a little like claw kind of in the zucchini first. Oh, hold the fingers under.
Yeah, not completely. Perfect.
This feels so freaky. Okay. It's like a knuckle sandwich on it. Okay. So then we just do like that.
Yeah. You want to work left to right. So if you're right-handed, obviously, so you want to keep all of the stuff that's not fabricated over on your left, and then as you fabricate it in the center, move it over to the right, and you don't have much crowding.
Okay.
Everything has a flow to it.
Is there like a certain kind of knife that's best, or is it,
Right now you're using Mac knives. I'm a fan of Mac or Shun, the Japanese knives. They're just well constructed.
Yeah, I like how
sharp.
heavy it is.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you feel more in control. Instead of like the ones that are so light, maybe all over the place.
But again, brand to me doesn't mean anything as long as it's maintained and sharp. It doesn't matter what knife you have.
So do you sharpen your knives every day? I bet you do. You've got to cook a lot.
I hone them on a steel, and I usually sharpen them on a stone once a week.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the biggest misconception is that the steel that you're given in a butcher block does not sharpen a knife. It maintains its sharpness.
Oh.
So, but you need to invest yourself in what's called a water stone, a wet stone. Mm-hmm.
Can you get those just like at?
I Google everything. So Google Norton Whetstone. Norton. That's the brand I use. And there's different grits. You have the lower the number, so 100 grit is going to be very rough on the stone. 1,000 grit is going to be very fine. 100 grit will really saw into your knife, really take the blade down. 1,000 grit is going to hone it and make this nice mirror edge on it.
Okay. And that's what you want. You want it to look really
Nice. Okay. So what we're going to do first? What we're going to do first is always apply high heat. Well, not always, but you apply heat to your pan.
Okay.
In our kitchen, we usually cook on medium-high to very high heat. We got to get it going fast. But there's also the knob that we control the heat. It's a very important element that's controlling your heat.
Okay.
Secondly, we're gonna squirt grapeseed oil. At the spa, we use almost exclusively grapeseed oil for the lack of flavor and the high smoking point.
Okay.
And we put it in squirt bottles that we buy at a beauty supply store to regulate how much is going into the pan.
Okay, I love that.
You want to give it a squirt?
So poetic. Using a beauty supply squirt bottle to squirt your cooking oil. It's perfect spa.
And now you see the hot pan, oil, how that oil really ran quickly on that pan. Mm-hmm. It's ready to go.
Okay.
Now you've got the heat to it. It's smoking a little bit. Add your ginger, your lemongrass.
Okay.
Go ahead and add those in there with the kaffir lime leaf.
Hold that. Okay.
Yeah. And we're going
to draw the aromatics in really quick. Okay, here we go. Oh, hear that. Yum. Okay, ginger.
Yes.
Bombs away. Okay. Oh.
And now let's go ahead and add the kaffir lime leaf. And then right behind that, add the tomatoes.
Okay. The tomato sauce?
Yep.
Okay.
This is if your pan is too
I'm a
hot.
little worried.
No,
it's not going to splatter me? Oh, God. Okay. All right.
And if you see, we had a hot pan. I turned the heat off, and letting the residual heat continue to cook it.
Oh, you
but the
turned the heat
reason
off.
you had the tomato in there was because the lemongrass was so finely minced that the heat was so high that once it starts to really sweat quickly before it burns, you add something cold, which in this case is a tomato, stops the cooking, and now we can get back to adding our ingredients.
Wow, okay.
Cooking is about fixing during the process.
Okay, yeah.
So add your garlic paste.
Okay. I might need
cumin.
there it goes. Yikes. Okay. And then here goes the cumin.
And
oh, God.
Give that a nice stir around.
Oh, my God, y'all. This smells so good.
And then, again, controlling your heat. Now we're down on low. And we're just going to let that tomato, the water evaporate out of the tomato and just become a paste.
All righty. It's sort of taking on already.
Exactly. And what's happening now is you're toasting the cumin, you're toasting the garlic chili sauce, and the kaffir lime leaf. So you're really drawing a lot of the essence of those flavors out into this dish.
Yeah. Oh, you can just smell it. It's so fragrant.
So now, do you see how thick it all got?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're just going to start adding our vegetables.
Okay.
Add them in the order that you think they're going to cook. So root vegetables, our carrots and our potatoes, go first.
Okay. Alrighty. Spoon to the side?
To the side.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Carrots.
Thank you. Okay. I'm loving the bowls there and these beautiful blue pottery, even the ingredients.
Diced russet potatoes.
Okay.
And diced sweet. And then the this point, too, we're just going to put some of these garden chilies.
Oh, wow. They're all different colors. It's like a little fiesta of chili popping in there. Okay.
Just a quick stir around.
All right. Ooh, and the handle is pretty hot, or are you just used to it? Or do you use pot holders?
Pot holders in this case are folded up towel. And that's another extension. Your left hand will always have your cooking utensil on it, in this case spoon, but sometimes tongs. And your left, if you're right-handed, your right hand will have the utensil. The left hand always has a towel in its hand. So you can grab out of the oven.
So who needs all those pot holders?
Yep.
You just need one really good towel.
So now we've got our root vegetables in there. We've turned the heat back up. You can go ahead and add chicken stock and fish sauce.
All right. Okay. And how do you know by looks that it's ready for that? Like, just because it looks kind of...
You know, what's happened is the tomato has reduced down. Everything's kind of thick as far as the aromatics we put in there. Now we need to cook and get some of the starch out of those potatoes so it'll thicken the sauce. So
chicken stock. And is this like, you probably made this fresh chicken stock, but can you just, somebody, a quick way at home?
You know, at home, I use the box from the store.
Okay.
Because you're going to spend as much money, and this is coconut milk.
Oh, and it's chunky, too. Look at that.
It's a real deal.
Oh, man, it looks like ice cream. This looks like, it's starting to look very dessert-like.
And then fish sauce.
All right.
And the fish sauce will wipe that dessert flavor right out. And now give that a stir. And we're just going to let this simmer. And depending on the size that you cut your root vegetables and carrots, your potatoes and everything, that's how long it's going to simmer. We're just going to simmer until these are done. They're cooked right through.
Okay.
Could take 5, 7, 10 minutes.
All right. And that's like medium heat or higher heat?
We'll go high heat. When I see a boil, we'll turn it down slow and just let it simmer.
Okay.
And then once they're cooked through, we're going to add our zucchini and our haricots verts, which are green beans, and let those cook for another minute. Those don't take long. And then we can put it on the back burner and reserve it hot.
All right.
We'll sear our fish, make our cookie, get all that in the oven, and then we've got our sauce. The base of our dish is pretty much essentially made. It can stay on the stove and be held hot. Now you're just waiting for the cookie and the fish to be done, and it's all to plate up.
All right. Perfect. You just serve it all together. Okay. So leave that be?
Yeah, we just let that be and let it simmer.
Do its stuff. Okay. Cool.
You're kicking back with Candy at Spa Brunch.
We got to talk with the chef about the philosophy of food at the Golden Door and what they, choose to decide to serve, why, how the menu works, and how they have just the most wonderful advantage of having gardens and gardens full of fresh herbs and vegetables and fruit. So you really get to have a really fresh, indulgent eating experience. So let's listen to what Chef had to say about that.
So, Chef Curtis, what is your philosophy of food and cooking and eating really delicious things, but yet maintaining a healthy lifestyle at the Golden Door?
At the Golden Door, when I first arrived, I was amazed to see the 3.5-acre garden. And even more amazing was the time spent. It took 90 to 120 days from seed to fruit or to vegetable. So before I received the produce in my kitchen, it was 4 months later. And at that point, I figured they did all the work. I need to stay out of the way. So less is more in my case. It could be a very simple puree, but I try to stand out of the way of the inherent flavor of whatever vegetable or fruit I'm cooking. I don't really want to mask it too much. I just want that to shine through, and I'll add ingredients that just highlight the natural sweetness or bitterness of whatever product I'm using.
Okay. And so, to people at home, what kind of things would you recommend that they are really the perfect things to keep on hand to do that kind of cooking?
Well, in this kitchen, we don't have cream, butter, or pork products. So right there, if you eliminate that, you're eliminating a lot of fat out of your diet.
So you don't have any butter?
No, I have a little bit. But it's in the freezer, and it's for very special occasions.
Okay.
Talking with our nutritionist, Dr. Wendy, we are only really supposed to intake 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt a day. Wow. We have trained our taste buds, it's a learned flavor. We have trained our taste buds to love more salt. So I've basically taken the salt out of the recipe, bought some really nice sea salts, Florida Cell, Himalayan pink rock, and I put it back on top of it. So I've kind of deconstructed the salt. So when I put the salt on top of the, let's say, a tomato salad, it's a salt-forward flavor first. Kind of tricks them into thinking it's well-seasoned, but I put very few grains of salt on the food.
So you wait and do that after the
very
food.
end. The
very,
food
very
is
end.
on the plate, and then I sprinkle a little seasoning on top.
All right. And you just, and when you put, like, how do you just get out a few grains? Like, you use a spoon or?
Well, no, Florida Cell and Himalayan pink rock, it's big, chunky sea salt, so you feel it in your hand. It's not like a fine iodized salt.
So you just put like a few pieces of that on top?
Yeah, just a little sprinkle on top. It also gives it a nice texture element, too, you crunching on the salt.
Yeah, I'm always seeing like all these flavored salts in the stores now. It's becoming a really trendy thing.
And the Himalayan pink rock is the big one right now.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, so anything you cook, whether you cook this recipe or not.
We'll season it lightly, but not as much. I don't want to go, a lot of chefs say season it to its fullest at each step along the way. My motto is just lightly season it, and then we'll season it later if it needs it.
So a seasoning plan from Chef Curtis at the Golden Door Spa. Sounds like a plan to me. Sounds like a good reason to go shopping. Might be hitting Williams-Sonoma after the show today and picking up some of that Himalayan pink rock salt. I'm always, I don't know about you, but I am always seeing all these, they just look so delicious. I think I saw lavender salt the other day. I think I saw a really savory, sweet one. It was more of a cinnamony salt. Sounds kind of crazy, but I think that would be really interesting on some of the fall dishes, like with pumpkins and squash. So definitely going to steal that tip from the chef. Let's head on back into the kitchen. I think our stew is just about ready. I'm already adding this to my Thanksgiving brunch menu. So let's just go back and finish up our dish.
Okay, so we're back. We've simmered for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Now, to test the doneness, can you see that sauce thickened a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
The starch, we've got two things going on here. We've had evaporation from the reducing, but the starch of the russet potatoes, as they kind of simmer, some of them break apart, and that's going to naturally thicken this sauce.
So you don't need any cornstarch or anything in there?
No arrowroot, natural,
yeah.
And then at this point, we're going to add our zucchini, which you so beautifully cut earlier. And then we're going to add our haricot verts.
Okay. So it's like a chunky sauce, not like a totally smooth.
I called it a chowder. Trying to give it this, and that kind of leaves it wide open. It's going to be thick with a lot of hearty vegetables.
And it looks so beautiful. All those different colors in there, greens, yellows,
and then we're
oranges.
Just going to let that simmer till they're done, and we're going to turn the heat on to our other pan.
It's looking so fall-like, very autumnal, all those colors in there.
This happens to be the favorite dish of the week. I don't know if I can take this off the menu or not. They really like this dish. Yeah. And it's truly if you see a one-pot dish. Mm-hmm. Some of my favorite things to cook, especially if I'm cooking at home and I have to do the dishes, one pot and we're done.
I think we all agree with that for sure,
So we're going to use Walu or Escalar. Okay. And we've got a little 3-ounce piece here. And
if you're buying this in the store, how do you know it's a good piece of fish?
Ask to smell it.
Really?
Yes.
So should it be not strong at all?
It shouldn't smell like anything.
No,
I get all my fish flown in from Hawaii. They buy it at the market, let's say on a Monday morning. They call me on Monday afternoon. I have it on the doorstep Tuesday morning. Grocery stores don't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
But again, you're about to pay for it. You're going to pay retail pricing, premium pricing. You should be able to kind of kick the tires, if you will.
Yeah.
So smell it, look at it, Ask them when they get their fish in. Ask them to cut, here's a good tip that I used to give. Ask them to they always cut a bunch of steaks or fillets for you. Ask them to cut one off of the whole piece. How long has that been sitting there? Because every time you cut a vegetable or protein, it's exposed to air and it starts to deteriorate. So if you look at that whole side of salmon, ask them to cut you an 8-ounce fillet instead of getting the pre-portioned ones.
All right.
They may not be happy with you, but you know what? You're the customer.
You're the customer. That's right.
All right, so I'm going to have you cook some hot non-stick pan.
Okay.
We're going to squirt some grapeseed oil in there. And now you see a little bit of smoke coming up?
Yeah.
Throw the fish in.
Okay. And just listen to that.
I hope you could hear that. You want to hear that. And now, if you can see right down here, it's going from an opaque kind of flesh and it's turning white.
On the pan.
On the fish.
Yeah.
That's a good indicator. Everybody wants to know, when do I flip the fish? Well, that's a good indicator to tell you when you're halfway done.
And how much should you see when you're halfway done? Just that white bit around
a little bit of white.
Yeah.
We're going to go about finger thickness all the way up.
Yeah, it sort of looks like it's forming an icing down around the bottom there. White icing. If only, right? Ice fish. That's how like a new dish.
And then you never want to jab a spatula or anything under it once you hit the pan. You can shake the pan to make sure that it moves, but if it doesn't move, don't go jabbing at it. You want it to cook away from the surface.
Okay, so you shake it to be sure it's loose?
Just to make sure it's loose, but if it's stuck, I'm going to let it sit for a minute and cook away from the surface.
Okay.
Now we flip it over, and you've got this nice, beautiful color.
Oh, it's like a golden yellow.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're going to go right into the oven. It does quite a few things in a professional setting. It frees up our burner space again. And the timing. We go a couple of minutes per inch of thickness on fish.
Okay.
That's about as much as I'm going to give you as far as times go, because we tell by feeling the outside of the fish, the sponginess or the resistance, or we stick a nice metal skewer to the heart of the fish, lay it there for 5 seconds, bring it out, and put it to the inside of our wrist. If it's warm, it's done.
Okay. That's a good, so and every piece of fish is a different thickness, so you can't really
I don't want to say 10 minutes, I don't want to say 7 minutes, and again,
that's the way to look at it.
If you go out and buy ahi tuna, you don't want to, unless you want well-done tuna, but for the most part, that's at 5 seconds you want to serve it rare.
Yeah. And so it's good to have this. This is another reason it's great to have those pans that go right from the burner into the oven.
Yep.
No plastic handles, nothing.
And now your chowder's sitting here simmering. It's done. The zucchini's cooked. We've got the fish in the oven. As soon as that fish comes out, we're going to plate up our stew. It's all on the table.
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
That's amazing. It's every host's dream. It's definitely a good brunch.
Timing is definitely everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fish is done. It's kind of split apart on us when we touched it. So that's a good sign that your fish is done.
And then we're going to remove the 2-inch knobs of ginger that we put in here and the kaffir lime leaves. You do not want to eat those.
Okay.
So, and then we're just going to ladle some of our stew, which as you can see is nice, thick, and hearty.
Yeah.
Right into the bowl. And again, you can tell the potatoes are cooked. They're starting to fall apart a little bit.
You can smell the cumin and the ginger.
And the chili paste
lovely.
in there.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of fish right on top.
And
then we'll garnish with our basil.
Chicken out there.
And this is roasted waloo with a Thai vegetable red curry chowder.
And that's like a perfect spa brunch dish for any time in the fall, I can think.
Yeah, and you can almost do this at any time of the year. You've got this nice curry base, the broth. Just switch whatever in season.
Right.
Today I was able to pull carrots and zucchini out of the garden, so I got carrots and zucchini in there. Basil's fresh, basil's in there, so it's whatever is in season.
Yeah, and what's great about this too is I bet you could just mix it up with any meat. So if you can't find a good fish, you can find maybe chicken.
Yeah, chicken would work great. Shrimp works great. When in regards to fish, those white flaky fish, cod, snapper, this waloo, just a big white flaky fish lends itself better to this kind of dish.
Because the broth is so tasty and pungent itself. You don't want to mess that up with a strong protein. So yeah, this looks delicious. Oh my God, I can't wait to have a bite.
And it was delicious. Let me assure you, it was really just as good, even better than anything I've ever had in any Thai or Indian restaurant. It was really spicy. There was nothing lacking. It was amazing. It was so fresh. All the flavors really played in together well. And so we want to send out a huge thank you to the Golden Door Spa and to Chef Curtis Cook for allowing us into their private kitchens. It was an amazing experience, and we hope they'll have us back. And we learned so much. Chef Curtis shared so many great tips that we're actually going to be doing another Golden Door episode, Spa Brunch, with more recipes. in a few weeks. So just watch our website. And if you were cooking along, you missed a part, this episode will be available for download. You can just play it back and go over parts that you missed. Maybe you just want to practice cutting your vegetables. That's a huge part of this recipe, really the most time-consuming part. Otherwise, it's just super quick. Just feel free to download it and play it again. Please be sure to visit goldendoor.com and find out about their week-long programs. They have a lot of special events coming up. I think they have a men's week coming where it's going to be just all men. So be sure to let all your guys know about that. And thank you again for tuning in. It's been fun having you at brunch as always. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget, you can shop the show and get the 411 on this episode at lifesaholiday.com. That's HOLLADAY.com. Meet Candy on Candy Holiday YouTube channel for more adventures. See you next holiday.